Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have a fully automated, fully integrated business operating system on top of Airtable? Airtable's an amazing platform for building custom software on top of it. Oftentimes people equate this process to building with Lego blocks. You have these amazing tools that you can build and configure how you want. But we have lots of clients coming to us and asking, hey, do you have something that just kind of works? Something that I don't have to build entirely from scratch? So in this video, we're going to be showing you things like managing your contacts or enriching your leads, pulling data from outside data sources to update your leads. We'll be generating contracts dynamically based on information you already know about your client, letting them update additional information, and automatically populating that back in Airtable. We'll be doing project creation, time entry, and then ultimately sending all that information, packaging it up, sending it to QuickBooks to actually invoice our clients. So if these kind of business processes sound relevant to you, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dan Lehman from automationhelpers.com, and we help companies like yours get automated with portals, apps, and integrations. So let's start first by creating a new contact record inside of our system. Now, for B2B clients, this is something that might get a little bit messy depending on how you configure it in your system, because you probably have contacts, the people that you're working with, and you have accounts or organizations. And so oftentimes what we see when we come into a project where people have been using Airtable for a while is that there's a lot of duplicate information floating around. And so one of the important processes that we talk about right away is making sure that we don't allow duplicates to happen, and instead we're searching for existing accounts and contacts. So in this example, we have our account, Automation Helpers, and we already have a contact here, Eli, who's been reaching out to us. We've been working with him on this sales opportunity. And so if we're creating a new contact, and this doesn't have to be inside of Airtable, this could be on a form on our website, for example, we want to make sure that if someone's coming from the same company, or maybe they've contacted us before, that we're not going to create new account records if they work at the same company that someone else does who's already in our system. Or if the same person contacts us multiple times on our website, we don't want to create a new contact record and now have two different places we need to look at. So let's create this new contact record, but we're going to have it associated with the account that's already in the system. We'll press create the contact. This is now going through some business logic in the back end, but we can come over here to our Automation Helpers record and we can see this update. So here we can see this now populated. We've got our new form submission here. We've got a new contact record. It's using the same account. It didn't create a new one. And if we open this up, we can see that it's going to start to populate this information as well with data enrichment from another tool. So here you can see this is now populated. We've got my photo. It's got information from my LinkedIn. So one of the things that we do is data enrichment. In this case, we're pulling this information from LinkedIn. We're using a service called ProxyCurl because LinkedIn is notorious about not really giving out access to their API. But this could come from other platforms as well. So some of you might be familiar with Clay, Apollo. You can use a lot of these different systems to be able to enrich data inside of your contacts. Now, another common thing that we do for our clients is helping with the process of tracking activities. So a really common thing is we want to be able to sync our emails, both our inbound and outbound emails, and have those synced to the corresponding accounts and contacts in our system. Another thing that we've done a lot is with fireflies.ai. That's a transcription service for your meetings. So if you're doing things like Zoom calls or Google Hangouts, being able to take the information from those, transcribe it, and write the actual data into the system. So how we use this internally is because we have a sales consultation with our clients, and then we hand off to our service delivery side. And to help those consultants know exactly what happened in our consultations, now they've got a summary of everything that they need to know in one spot. It doesn't take them reviewing the entire call to be able to get that information. So let's say we've been in the sales process with Acme, and we now want to send out an agreement. Well, we don't want to have to take all that information and now populate it in another tool, in our e-signature management tool. So in this case, we'll put in something like a bill rate. We'll say $200 an hour, and all we need to do is create a new agreement. So let's go ahead and press this button. If I head over into my agreements tab, this is where we're going to see the different agreements that have been created. So we've got this new agreement for Acme Incorporated, and inside of my email, I'm going to get a notification that I, the person in the company, needs to go ahead and sign this. So I'll click View and Sign. Now this tool that we're using is called esignatures.io, and there's a million reasons why we like to use it with a lot of our clients, but we've done this with PandaDoc and DocuSign and other platforms in the past as well. So here you can see that we inserted today's today's date, we've got information about our company, and then here's that hourly rate that we just inserted via Airtable. So basically different fields of information that we have about the contact or the account, we can now inject into our agreement. We'll go ahead and sign the agreement. And now at this point, our prospect receives the agreement so they can sign it. And now here's the cool part. We've already inserted information about their company and name. So we can make this a much more streamlined process for the client. They don't have to enter in all this information from scratch. But let's say in our sales process, we never really collected their address on file. We don't need that information. This is something we want them to be able to update. So these fields of information the client's going to enter. So now acting as the client, I've filled in that information and I'm ready to sign. And now if we head back inside of Airtable, this should have run, yep. And so we have this signature status here that's now updated to signed. We've got the completed date. So as soon as this signed, we've got a webhook that's firing to update this. We can view our agreement, which is going to open up all the information. We can see the audit trail about the agreement. One of the nice features about e-signatures is that they automatically load it into your document management tool if you wanted to go into something like Dropbox or Google Drive, but we could, if we wanted to, write it directly into Airtable as well. So we've got all the information about our agreement, and in the background, the other thing that's happened is we've now updated Acme to become a customer instead of a prospect. And now if I head into my accounts, you can see that Acme is now a customer. We also have this billing ID, and the billing ID is because we've taken all the customer master information that we now have inside of Airtable, and we've pushed that into QuickBooks so that now our customer can exist in QuickBooks as well. One of the parts that's really nice about the integration here is if we open up our agreement and we want to view additional information about our account, here you can see that this address has now updated. The address is 101 Front Street, Fargo. We put all that information in when we were on the agreement. So we can basically take any custom fields that our client fills out, take that information and write that back into Airtable. And then that address, when we created that QuickBooks record, that actually pushed the address in as well. So all of our core information is living here inside of Airtable, and it's sending it to the places that we need it to, rather than having those data silos where now, great, you've got a customer inside of Airtable, you've got a contract over here in e-signatures. Now we need to go manually update over here. All the information's flowing from Airtable. So now let's go ahead and flip into the project management side of the house. So we had a new customer that's signed. Let's go ahead and create a new project, and we're gonna use Airtable's templating functionality for this. We'll put in a title here. We'll say this is an enterprise project, and we'll assign this to our customer. So at this point, this will create all of the different phases and tasks of our project. You can see here we've got kind of a flat phase. Maybe we say, oh, you need to pay a discovery fee up front, or you pay a down payment for the project. That's gonna be managed here. This is going to be important later on when we're sending this information into QuickBooks. So we've got a number of different tasks as well. We're estimating the start dates and completion dates. We're rolling all of that information up from the tasks. If we want to see at a high level the different phases in the system, we don't want to go task by task, but we want to be able to see the phases and when this project's going to be done. We've got that showing on a calendar here. And so essentially our project is set up. And at this point, now we've got people who are going to be working on the project itself. So here in our interface, this top level project creation information is probably more on the administrative side, but we would have this part of the interface exposed to the people who are doing the actual work, the time entry on this. And so at this point, we've got multiple different ways we could look at this. We could have a Kanban of all the tasks I'm working on, or we could view specific tasks in certain stages that I'm working on. But the key part here that you'll see is that we can do time entry. We've got these time logs. So if I'm assigned a task, I'm going to be entering time, and so I can just add a new record, pick a date, put in the time for this, and all of this information is going to be aggregated then when it comes to actually invoicing, assuming we're doing something like time and material. Now at this point, once our team has been logging time against the tasks, we've got this customers to invoice, which means it's going to automatically roll up the time and say, hey, you need to invoice this client. So we'd have a list of any clients that need invoicing, and we can see a summary level here of here's projects. We could actually have multiple projects with multiple phases and tasks, and you can see a summary level of all of the hours that need to be invoiced for that. So our first step is going to be to click this button to invoice our customer. Once we've created the invoice, this disappears from the screen because we no longer need to invoice them. Now we're able to review the invoice that's generated in Airtable before we actually send it out to the client in QuickBooks. So here's one we have for Wayne Enterprises, and here is the invoice that we just generated for Acme. So we can see information about the customer. They're going to use net 30 for their default payment terms, and we're going going to automatically send them their invoices. From here, we can see a subtotal of all of the hours as well as that flat phase. So remember, we're charging the client $500 straight up for this phase. We're not doing time entry. So in the system, we've created multiple different ways to be able to invoice our clients. One is kind of this flat rate that we're going to charge. That could be for a whole project. We say, yeah, we charge you $10K for this project. But we also find that clients bill in a number of different ways. And so what we're doing here is we generated all of these invoice lines, and there's quite a few of them. And you'll recognize why in a second, because we have both the product or service. This comes from QuickBooks. This is called the item. And then you can see that we have different rates associated with it. So for some of our clients, they want to be able to bill based on different resource rates. So that means, let's take tech as an example, that you would say an architect, we're going to charge $300 an hour for. A senior developer, we're going to charge $250 an hour for. A junior developer, we're going to charge $100 an hour for. If you do that kind of granular billing, that's essentially what's creating all of these different line items. Now, for those of you who have much more simplistic use cases, you're like, no, we just charge the same thing. You don't need all of that functionality. But what we found as we build this system for our different clients is that people bill and invoice in all sorts of different ways. And we wanted to be able to come up with the functionality that would handle all of those use cases, be it if you have resource rates or you're doing retainer-based billing or you're just invoicing one-off. So at this point, as an administrator, you'd probably want to review the time logs before you actually officially send it to the client, because this is a pretty big bill here we have for $41,000. So let's say as we're going through this, we say, oh, you know what? We started on this part, but we actually don't want to invoice them on that until next week. I'm just going to click to remove that. And let's say maybe there's another one of these. Yeah, we're going to put this on the next invoice as well to make that a little bit more palatable. So we're just going to click remove on those. And then what happens, you can see, is as we remove those chunks, it's actually updating the line items and the subtotals with it. And so this is one of those core processes. We use this all the time where if we're invoicing our customers, we want to review it before it actually goes out. Now at this point, our invoice looks good to us, so let's go ahead and send this to QuickBooks. So what's happening in the system is this is actually going to send it via QuickBooks. We can see our account here. This is created the invoice. This now updates that to a sent status and the invoiced amount. Let's open this up in QuickBooks. This is a step you would not need to do. This is more just for verification to make sure that it is there. So we'll open up our invoice. And you can see this has our customer information, all that information from our customer. Remember, in that first step, as soon as they became a customer, we push that into QuickBooks. So we've got all that information, their billing, their payment terms for this. And then you can see we created all of those line items with the descriptions that are actually coming from the tasks themselves, the quantities, the rates, the amounts, all of that. And we've got that subtotal. And this was automatically sent to our clients because they had that checkbox of automatically sent. Now, if you want to have an extra step, you could say, don't automatically send, and then I want to review from QuickBooks. But most people are like, yeah, we already checked it over inside of Airtable. Let's have it automatically sent. So let's pretend at this point that we received payment. They've gotten their invoice. They're going to pay it. I'm just going to simulate that here by clicking on receive payment. And let's go ahead and we'll save and close that. Then we can head back inside of Airtable. And this has our sent status right now. And you can see that just updated to paid. It put in the timestamp for date paid. And so we can know which of our invoices are outstanding versus which ones have been paid. And of course, because it's Airtable, we can view summaries of that. We could have a formula to say, when is this overdue? Show me my overdue invoices so we can send them to a client. All of the functionality that you know and love about Airtable. So I hope this was helpful for you to see the kinds of automation systems that we've been deploying for our clients. Now, typically at the end of these videos, we send you to a contact page and you can reach out, but this is something that I've been working on myself in building out this IP that you can tap into. So if you're interested in actually using this automation system, something that's pre-crafted, and then maybe you do a little bit of custom services on top, but you get to tap into the functionality of this out of the box, I'm going to put in a special link where you can meet with me directly in the comments below if you want to touch base about what this could look like for your business. And of course, if you have any other kinds of questions or want to do a more standard consultation, you can do that on our website at automationhelpers.com.